All right, Modified 95, we are back. It's now a little bit later than the video. We did some maintenance and got the transmission ready for Brandon. Now Brandon is here, so we are going to check out what parts he has brought, and then we'll add in some parts here, and then we'll get this project going. That's probably going to be about a 2-day project, mostly because of all the things that we need to source, and half of them aren't here, just the pedals, which are probably the most important thing. But let's get this going. So a couple parts I had a clutch for him that was a spare that I didn't end up putting in because the one I had was still fine. I just had to replace something else. This is the rear T bracket. This is for the manual transmission because this one has an automatic, and this is that matching mount in the back. He made sure to get the clutch master cylinder, and I think hopefully the clutch slave cylinder's in there. I'll check that in a little bit. Of course, gotta have that short shifter. Perfect. And all the little hardware. Boom. This is all super important stuff. And I'll check to see if he has this other piece I asked him to get. These are the bushings, of course, shift linkage. The automatic has a different mount than the manual, so this should be the mount that's going to allow a manual transmission to sit into this body style of Integra. I think this is a 95 Integra. Not that it really makes a difference. What else we got in this bag? All right, we needed these. These are the flywheel bolt and the pressure plate for the clutch bolt. That's very cool. Needed that, so he did a good job of ordering stuff. Let's see what else is in here. I don't know what these are. This might be for the shifter, which I do not think we'll need because I'm sure there's a stock shifter going on. Where are we going? Are we going Type R? What's in this box? Oh, yeah. Oh, look at that. Fancy. I don't know what has all the crap on there. It should just screw on because it's like the factory size. What else do we have? I wish I could make one of those unboxing videos of those kids who make like millions of dollars. Ooh, bunch of
like that Ryan kid.
Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. It's also, we need that. This is the clutch line. This is going to go from the master to the slave. Don't look any deeper than that. This is what things are called. Ooh, he got the pieces I needed. This is a little rubber bushing that goes over the shifter on this end. This is a little plastic piece that goes over the ball. Oh, and the factory Honda. This is so nice. Oh, we have little studs for that. You know, he got all factory stuff too. Okay, those are all important. All right, and this last piece, this was the really important one. This is the piece that allows the shifter to be connected to this. I don't feel one of the pieces I need, a little rubber one, but that's okay. We will make, oh wait, no, it is in the bag. Okay, perfect. So yeah, we got a bunch of this stuff. So definitely probably more than enough that we need for today. So we'll get this all together. And we're going to start by taking off the axle nuts because both the axles are supposed to come out. And then I also have a spare LS. Getting up. Lazy legs. All right, so I also have a spare LS intermediate shaft. So I have the intermediate shaft because that's also different than what an automatic has. And then these axles should still be good, so I can throw those in to make this project happen. That's Brandon. He's trying to hide. But yeah, so the goal is to get this transmission into this car. So we got it up on jack stands. We got the wheels off. And while we're doing that, we get to find out everything wrong with it. Like we're finding broken studs. We're just making a list of things that need to be fixed. This should be connected, especially if this is the carb legal one, which it says it is. It looks like the right one. And then as we get down here, you can see that we had some leaks. Yeah, we need to replace the... tie rods, yeah. Yeah, maybe all of it. You know, maybe tie rods, inner and outer, and tie rod boots. But I think that the rack and pinion. Yeah, no, we're just seeing it. I think the rack and pinion is due to be replaced, so it definitely would not hurt to replace that. And then we get over to this side and get the wheels off. And we are missing one of these. Right, and it looks like, man, the fool dripping on my driveway. What? Definitely needs a valve cover or an oil pan gasket. Good on, Lord. Well, you didn't put it on right. Either, because I don't think it's coming from up here. So definitely we need to swap that out. Not today though. So a big important thing to do is as you're getting down in here, we definitely want to preserve this. Got to keep that factory AC. It's the most beautiful thing. So when people have it, got a lot of respect for that because none of my cars do, and I'm just sweating balls all the time. But battery comes out. because that doesn't need to be plugged in for all we're doing. Intake comes off, starter comes off. The automatic starter is not the same as the manual one. The flange is just a little bit longer, so the bolt holes don't line up. I'm sure if you drilled it out, you could probably modify it and make it work if it was that low of a budget affair, but I'm pretty sure that D series and B series ones, as long as they should both fit. I mean, because starters are pretty similar. Next, after getting all this stuff out, before we take out the axles, even though we have the axle nuts off both, to make that part easier, we'll need to take off the cable that goes to the gear selector. So I've done this before, and so I think it's pretty easy. So I'm gonna hop down there and we're gonna check it out. All right, we are upside down. This might be a hard thing to view. I don't know how this is gonna turn out because I'm not sure how I'm holding my phone. But I'm looking up there, and can you see right there where that plug goes into the, I think what's power steering, and then the wires aren't connected. And then I come over here, bam, and there should be a bolt into this. Something that holds this. There should probably be like a rubber piece, and then that, I don't really know, I don't deal with much rack and pinion stuff. But if we come over here, right there, you see that clean spot? So it's like a 1/2 inch of travel that this bad dog has to be doing. So you know it's gonna get mad squirrely. Moving on over here. So this is what I'm down here for. There was two 12mm bolts and then one 10mm bolt, and it held on that. So that'll be removed when that assembly comes out from the inside, but I'm just down here getting these things off so that this automatic is ready to drop. Currently I'm taking off these 219s. This is a fancy snap-on ratcheting wrench. Came straight off the truck because I got replaced from an old broken one. So yeah, we're moving right along, just sharing the things that we find. So right now, Zero and Brandon are on that side, draining the automatic transmission before you drop it out or pull the axles out. But we've taken the spindles off, and we noticed that we need new
to the pump, and then the pump
sway bar end links, and we need new lower ball joints. Those are all things that would make this thing ride a lot better. He said how loose and sloppy the steering was, and that has to do with his rack being loose, which he showed in the last video. But we're getting this all apart, and making this manual will make this just much more of a fun car to drive. He spent $800 on this, so where you save in one area, it adds to another. Because I mean, all cars cost about the same amount, just getting it where you want it. But this car will decimate all. Some overnight parts from Japan. All right, so on the new shift linkage, he brought me these rubber bushings, so I got this one in. It's always irritating going down the line, so I installed this because he got this other bushing piece. These are like the polyurethane ones, a little bit stiffer than the factory ones. I do not like the metal ones. I've tried them. I didn't really feel much of a difference. This rubber boot, and there's that plastic piece that goes inside there. This has to go over the bottom. I thought it could go the other way because it's easier to get on, but then it doesn't actually lock this piece in. Now it's locked in. These are flat here, so you have to hold these while you impact these on. But now it's on, and then this gets greased up. So we threw some grease on there, so it's ready to shift, and like that'll get a good 30 years without having to be replaced, and it still shift nice and smooth. So over there, the boys, I don't know if you can see that because of the sun glare. Let me see, there we go, there they are. They are working on getting they got the dust cover off, and now they're working on those torque converter bolts. That way this should be ready to drop out, and we also drained that before that. As you can see, axles are out. So we're moving right along, and then Brandon will have to run down to Zero's old house and pick up the pedals and a few other things, the gauge cluster, because he has a manual one, which will look a lot better than the automatic one, and then maybe lower ball joints. He might have to buy those new. I don't think we have any lying around, but yeah, just really getting it together. So there's a lot going on in here, like a lot. I think this cluster will end up getting replaced. I mentioned that earlier. There's also a really nice headliner where the pedals are and everything else. So that will replace the no headliner that's in here now. But I was working on getting this all out. We were under, and we saw that we took that cable off. So now we just have to finish getting this off. It almost feels like a 5-speed, but this is the gear selector. It only goes one direction. But I was very careful. I didn't want to mess up any of these things, so I just made sure I unplugged everything. And only clips I didn't break these. I just cut them off to get them off. But everything is still here, so this is still completely functional. It's just no longer hooked up to here. So I'm going to finish getting this out. I was telling Brandon that he should look up one of the 3D printing companies. I think it's called Natech, and I got a auto to manual plate that's all like 3D printed, and it came with all the bolts and everything. So you see how these are sticking up? It should allow you to slide that plate over there and then put all the rubber pieces on to keep all the road noise and exhaust and everything else that might be down there from coming in that hole. So I definitely suggest that he gets one. He doesn't have one now, but it should be fine and we should be able to continue. And he's got a new piece. He also has one that has the manual shift boot in there. So I mean, we're getting very close. Still a ways to go, and I'm gonna have to shove off soon, and they might keep working without me. So there might be some stuff that's not on video, but we'll definitely get to a video that has a finished product. All right, that's what it should look like. That gives us room. I think that auto to manual plate would cover this hole and give you some threads to go through to bolt it down, and then give you a nice little spot right here. There's a rubber, I don't think he has it, but I think I got one from my car for when I do this. It's a rubber boot that goes on top that matches the rubber boot that's already on there. One's like the inner one and then one's the outer one, and that gives it a nice little seal. But this is also a good time to clean when all the stuff is apart. I know the focus is getting things done today, but this is just about where I got to take off. I think this might be important to let this plugged in. I think you might have to set this into like neutral or something and hide it. I forget what this process is. Definitely not my specialty, but we will cover that in this video. I will ask and have it explained to me because the wiring is not here, so it won't be done today. This is the piece I took out. That was all 10 millimeters, super easy. And then this last piece, there was 4 10 millimeters. The first two held this, but also held on that cable that's now out that we took out from the bottom. And then those back two allowed this whole assembly to slide out. Out here we got Brandon on the ground. Everyone's working. What he's doing is he is looping the transcooler lines. I was having a blank zero, thank you. The transcooler lines, because on an automatic it has these 2 lines that go from the transmission pump ATF into the bottom of the radiator, get it cooled and pump it back in. So we will not need that because manual transmissions do not need that unless you have a cool Bozuku car that has an oil cooler on the outside, like an external one. But yeah, they're moving right along. So when we come back to this is it's so dirty. Is that blood? Oh no, it's ATF. I thought he was bleeding. I'm like, oh, he's bleeding. No, he got ATF in his face. It's polite to tell people before you just bust in their eye like that.
I told him too. I'm like, oh. I was like waiting for it. Oh, there it is.
Yeah, see, he learned the hard way, but he stuck till the job was done. That was perfect. And so they're going to detach this. I'm going to head out, but we will come back, and hopefully there will be a blue manual transmission with the manual starter attached with the new axle seals put in, because we just hadn't done that yet. And then they will get all this in. Hey, Brandon, did you bring a flywheel? A flywheel?
Flywheel?
Yeah. Okay, that's okay. We have a couple right there. Zero, is one of these good?
I know that one over there is definitely a B-series.
I think those are too, but he'll give these a good analyzation and see which one's good, and then we'll pick one and we'll just throw it in there because we have all the parts here. All right, guys, I will see you next time, and we will go with part 2 of this auto to manual conversion. It is pretty much easy. I mean, it's just like taking your car apart like you do for a motor swap or anything else. It just takes time, and you can see all the parts in your car that are busted that need to be replaced, and you definitely get by with a lot of help from your friends. We just have a menagerie of parts that we've been storing that we haven't needed, but we keep them on hand just for this moment, whether it's bolts, whether it's tools, you get all that stuff together. All right, Modified family, we'll see you next time.